Good evening and welcome to this event of CIC. And we are today on a topic which probably affects each one of us. Money doesn't grow on trees. We have a young author, Lavanya Mohan. She is a CA turned writer from Chennai. She leads the charter for content and social media marketing at one of India's most prominent insurtech. Okay, insurtech, insurance tech. Okay, how we're out of sync with modern lingo. Her words have been published in The Hindu, BuzzFeed India, Vogue Business, LA India, and First Post. A self confessed money nerd, she has written extensively about personal finance through her columns, Bookkeeping for the Morning Context, and Rupi Rani for the News Minute. Welcome, Lavanya. Please join us on stage. In conversation with her is Aarati Mohan, a cost accountant, Aarati Krishnan, sorry, a cost accountant and MBA finance by profession. She has been closely tracking the Indian financial markets and writing about the entire gamut of financial products and regulations for over 25 years now. Joining Hindu BusinessLine as a research analyst in August 1995, she went on to head its research bureau and was editor of its portfolio section for 7 years. She has moved to a consulting editor role at the BusinessLine from 2014, while continuing to write on the economy, regulations, and markets for both BusinessLine and the Hindu. She has earlier she was earlier a contributor to Value Research and currently writes on bonds, insurance, and stock markets for Prime Investor. For her pioneering work in writing on financial services and the economy, she was awarded the Sri Ram Sanlam Award for Excellence in Financial Journalism 3 times. She is a speaker at investor awareness events and is presently a member of the SEBI's MF Advisory Committee. Welcome, Aarati Krishnan. I took the liberty, since I have not read the book, I took the liberty of asking ChatGPT what it thought about this book. And I thought I'll share it with all of you. Lavanya Mohan's Money Doesn't Grow on Trees is a refreshing and much needed guide to personal finance that speaks directly and empathetically to young Indian readers. With her accessible writing style and sharp insight, Mohan demystifies the intimidating world of money without ever sounding preachy or condescending. I'm sure this is going to be a very, very interesting session. So, without taking much time, let me hand it over to Aarti for conducting the proceedings. Thank you.
So thank you for having me here, CIC. And
Yes, thank you for having both of us today. And
yeah.
thank you for spending your Saturday evening with us.
Yeah. So I read your book from cover to cover actually.
Thank you.
And given the amount of personal finance writing I do, I must say I found it very refreshing and very approachable, also accessible, not
Thank you.
really technical or full of jargon. So when you speak to any young people or sometimes even middle aged people about finance, um, most people associate it with maths and they think that it's full of numbers, and so the same aversion and allergy that children have to maths, adults have to finance, right?
Correct.
So, one of the most striking things I found in the beginning of your book is that you're saying don't approach finance like it's maths, approach it like it's a new language that you have to learn. Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, so this sort of insight also comes from years of interacting with both young as well as older people, but in the older spectrum, specifically women, like older women. So I was a chartered accountant in practice for about 8 years with my father, and we'd have clients come and go, and a lot of the older women especially who needed to have their returns filed, sometimes like the husband was also a client, and therefore, we filed for the family, we were a small practice. So all of them would come and they'd all say the same thing. I'll take the liberty of speaking in Tamil since we're all
Yeah.
here. They'll all say எனக்கு வராது அச்சோ எனக்கு வராது வரவே வராது because the moment they'd see numbers, they'd immediately think that it's algebra. they'll immediately think that it's like calculus coming back to bite them, and they'll not try. It's not even like a matter of whether they will understand or not understand. It's not a matter of whether you need IQ or don't need IQ. The fact is that most people don't even try to take a look at what's in front of them. They'll all say, "Yenga sign podno, enna pannu." That's it. Nobody wants to know what's actually going on. And that's when I was like, what is stopping all of you? And then I remember one of them said, எனக்கு சின்ன வயசுல இருந்தே maths வராது. And that's when you're like, okay, now it all makes sense. All of them think that it's maths because no one teaches you accounts or no one teaches you personal finance as a subject, right? In school, we're not taught about money. You're not taught to think about money. If anything, you're taught that thinking about money is a bad thing. So, this aversion towards finance immediately comes because you see numbers, and numbers are math. So, one of the things that I figured actually ended up breaking walls down was that a lot of these very intelligent young people who had very deep interests, like today, you think about everyone who speaks about like Korean movies or like very niche interests, like Marvel comics, they're really capable of going in deep. And if you can think about finance in the same way, like art appreciation, like Carnatic music, like think of the way that some people really get into Carnatic music, right? Like for someone who doesn't know music, it's like, okay, I won't know the difference between Bilahari and Mohanam and all. But like the people who really understand music and they look at it as a language and they look at it as like a deep subject, they can get into it very easily. So if you think about money in the same way, you think about it like Carnatic music. How do you understand Carnatic music more? How do you learn to appreciate it more? By listening more, right? The more you listen, the more you'll be able to get the nuances of the subject. It's the same for finance. The more you read, the more you kind of like involve yourself, it's going to come to you the same way any other subject comes to you. So I realized that you have to start by saying that because a lot of people give up without even trying. So that's why I
Yeah.
put it right at the front saying
Yeah.
it is not mathematics, it's actually just a language. You learn the jargon the way you learn about ragas, you learn the jargon the same way you learn about Marvel characters, you learn the same way you learn about Korean films, whatever your interest is. Approach it in the same way and it'll open itself up to you.
Yeah, and you left out cricket. People
Yeah.
by heart all kinds of statistics about which cricketer did what in 1985 and
If
1983,
you know what the
and they can
difference is between
spew it out.
square leg and gully, you'll
Yeah.
know what the difference is between debt fund and equity fund. Like it's not very different.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get to the stage where a person joins his or her first job. Okay. So suddenly, I mean, you're free of the bonds that your parents put on you with respect to your money or pocket money or whatever, and you have your paycheck coming in now. So that is the stage when actually people get very frazzled and they say, my God, I know nothing about what to do with this money. So they either end up spending it all or they don't even make a start because they are so paralyzed. So um, the first of course, if you go to any of these financial experts, they say that you have to do goal based financial planning, and that sounds awfully difficult. And when you ask young people what are your life goals, they get very psyched and they say, goals, I don't have any goals except having a good time right now, right? So how do you actually start with this goal based thing?
So goal based saving is very intimidating because I feel like when you're young, your goals are shaped by what you see around you and therefore what success looks like. And today on social media, success is very vast. The ways you can define success. A lot of people just want to travel. Young people just want to travel. They just want to buy certain things. You need to have this iPhone in your hand. And one of the more dangerous things that has happened, and I tell this all the time, I would hate to be a young person right now because of the number of temptations that are around you because of social and the ease with which you can pay because of UPI. The other day I closed my like I remember being half asleep and executing a payment because it's that easy and intuitive to use Google Pay, right? So young people have this very dangerous cocktail that's surrounding them, with like Instagram and UPI happening at the same time, and the fact that you can live your life on EMIs, right? So all of this is very dangerous, which is why I would say do not overthink goals also. Just save 30%. Don't, it's fine. You don't need to have a goal. You don't need to have an aim in life. Just save 30%. Don't overthink it. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to have goals.
Yes.
Like, goals also change. Maybe I wanted to go and see Northern Lights this year. I might change that next year. We are also fickle as humans. You don't need like grand goals. I just think blanket save 30%. If you are living with your parents, you can save up to 60% if you're not paying rent. I feel like people really underestimate the kind of savings that you can make when you're living with your parents. I say make the most of it. Save as much as you can and then figure out what you want to do with that money later. Having money is never a problem. Not having money is the problem.
Yeah.
So I would just say blanket, don't think 30%, squirrel it away. And yeah, first jobs are very intimidating, in that the first time you get like your salary slip also, it's very confusing because
Hard to even understand it, right? So
yeah,
many deductions. So when you get your offer letter, the CTC seems very large and generous.
yes,
But when you're getting your take home pay, you find that quite a few cuts have been made out of
yeah.
it.
So the
Yeah.
CTC and what lands in your bank account are two very different numbers. You think you divide it by 12 and it'll land in your bank account. No. Companies structure your salaries in such a way that they benefit at the end of it. That's really how all of this works. And what you want to do is figure out, okay, how much is coming to me at the end of the day? Can I increase it? Today, I think for salaried folks, the new regime is
Yeah.
quite generous. Like what the tax changes that have happened this year are quite generous. You will end up having a bit more money in your pocket. The question actually becomes, what are you getting from the company that is not landing in the bank account? And you want to make sure you're making best use of it. Like, I know someone in my own workplace. So, one of the perks, quote unquote, that we get is a Sodexo balance, right? So, all of us, I think, who work in corporates, all of us get like this Sodexo balance meal voucher, that gets credited directly into that wallet. The only thing is, in order to activate that wallet, you have to activate that app, and it only works in a couple of apps. So you have to also make the effort of figuring out, okay, like what can I get as deduction? So that involves you sitting with your HR and trying to figure it out. I also think these days young people don't want to make the effort of just sitting with HR and being like, okay, but what is this? Okay, but what is that? What am I getting here? So if you go at it line by line, you'll actually be able to see ways in which you can make the max out of your salary. For example, this Pluxee or Sodexo that they're giving us, it plugs into Swiggy. So you can like set it off against meals, but interestingly, it doesn't set off against Instamart. So all of this engineering they do, right? And you want to know all these things. I feel like I know a lot of my junior, I'm at a what they call mid senior pre leadership, like at that level. But I know people at like level, like senior manager, kind of like if I am level 9, for example, at level 5, who really need to know all of this because it's going to help them save that much more of their own salaries, who'll be like, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. It's just something. And I'm like, no, you need to know. There is no shame. There is absolutely no shame in wanting to get every rupee out from your
Yeah,
salary.
it's a bit cool not to care about
Yeah,
money, you
it's
know.
like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know,
Yeah.
guys. I don't know. I'm like, why? It's like people who come into tests and say, I didn't study. இதுல என்ன பெருமை? Like, why are you so happy that you didn't study? I don't know. I didn't study. I don't know. I don't know. So I feel like that's also like a bit of an attitude shift. But generally, I feel like if young people just spend like that extra 10-15 minutes, even when you get your offer letter, to understand what the benefits are, because companies will put non-monetary benefits in your payslip as your package. Yeah, especially I think those who are working in startups and who are getting ESOPs, right? All of that, if you're getting your bonus in ESOPs especially, that also shows up as a significant number in your CTC. But while it is a cost to the company, it's not going to manifest as cash for a very long time. And you need to be okay with that, right? And you need to know what's coming in and what's going out. I think just knowing what's happening in your payslip is very important. And just spending time and telling yourself that it's important and doing it is like a very important step for young people. That's also why I think when I wrote the book, the chapters are arranged in like a life
Life stages,
sequence.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
saying okay, we'll start here. You understand what tax is, you understand how much is being paid, how can we reduce tax burden, how much more information can I give my HR so that I can get more cash, in the background. So all of that stuff, I think, is the first step when you start earning, to understand. Then after that, it becomes like managing your expenses. And I feel like when you're young, you should spend, you should live your life, you should go out, like have fun and do all of those things, but not in a way that is reckless
Yeah.
to your bank balance. That's all I feel like.
Yeah.
I can't tell people to not live your life also. You should live it.
Yeah, I'm glad, in fact, that you talked about the various temptations, because typically when we have money conversations with my peer group and all, they'll say, oh, younger galatla, we used to save so much, and nowadays these children, they just spend everything. Ipa pata lifestyle, they keep spending and all. But the truth is, today even I spend a lot more than I used to spend because of this. I
Absolutely.
mean, first of all, what constitutes a good lifestyle itself has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
And even I want internet from two providers, and I want to watch OTT, and I want to go to the movie, and I want to wear good clothes. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's just for young people, actually. For
I
everybody,
agree.
there is a lifestyle creep that has happened.
I agree.
And this, I mean, earlier you would draw money from the ATM and you would hold it, and from that you would spend. So when the money ran out, you would know you're overspending. But this GPay, credit card, online, all of this, actually, it sucks money so quickly. So I feel. Um, it's very hard to actually save after spending, right? So the one point you made, which I completely agreed with, is you have to save before you spend. I mean, the early part of the month has to be your saving time, and
Yeah.
only what is left you should spend. If you do the reverse, nothing will be left.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't um, save after you spent because there'll be nothing
Nothing.
much to save. So I always recommend, if salary credit is happening on the first, put one SIP on the third. Then you know it's out. Then whatever is left, you spend because you know you've saved. So there's less guilt also. And if you have extra money left over even after that, then superb, fantastic. You know. So I always recommend, get saving out of the way. That way you can spend in peace. And I do agree that lifestyle creep has happened for all of us because all of us are exposed to social media. You might say if the young generation is on Instagram, the older generation is on YouTube,
Or Facebook.
Facebook. Everyone is like at some level swiping on the same shots. Hi friends, இன்னைக்கு நாம எங்க இருக்கோம்னா, like you're always like at some new place. There's always some new restaurant to try. All of us have the same temptation. So that creep is very real, right? Like my father's also come now. And he will also attest to the fact that when we were young, right, like going to Sarana Bhavan on Peters Road
Mm,
once every 2 weeks was like that was your outing.
yeah,
Like, and today, like, think of all the options you have, right?
absolutely.
Like in terms of the things that you can do on a Saturday evening. So everyone is subject to the same temptation. So what can we do? We can, number one, save before we spend. Number two, see if we can introduce some friction into
Ah,
our own lives. Like you said with ATMs, right? There's always friction when
yeah,
we are making payments. So back in the day, like when you see cash go out of your wallet, there'll be like some
it's a bit
pain.
of pain, yeah.
There'll be some pain.
Yeah.
Ayo, it's going out. Only two notes are left. Only three notes are left, and that becomes your mental check to
Yeah.
calm yourself down. Today, you just scan one QR. You go shop after shop after shop, scan, pay, scan, pay. That music comes, it's very satisfying. It doesn't even tell you to check your balance.
No.
That balance will be XXXX. So you can assume whatever.
Yeah.
So we have to actually train ourselves to introduce some kind of friction. So one of the things that I like doing is like if I want something, I'll add it to cart and I'll close. Next day morning when you see, you'll be like, okay, I might not want it or anything like that. But it's actually the onus is on us at this point in time to introduce some kind of friction. Check your balance before paying. Like, and today it's become very difficult also because when you check out, it doesn't go to the app. It goes straight to that page where you can like put your pin and then the
Yeah,
transaction is done
it's over.
because that is optimized for completing the
Yes.
transaction, right? So I feel like because we're all typing our pins at the speed at which we are typing,
Yeah.
or like a message or whatever, it goes that fast.
Yeah,
So
in the
the onus
blink
is
of
on
an eye,
us.
it's over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the onus is on us.
And I think these free exchange and return policies also prompt this behavior, like because it's returnable, you buy all kinds of rubbish and then you never use it in the end because you're thinking you will return it, but you will never return it.
You don't return it and you get it. No,
Right.
e-commerce today is very dangerous. I
Yeah.
feel like the generations that said we saved so much money did not have Amazon, did not have Flipkart, did not have Myntra
Or GPay.
or GPay. I would like to see them, be young in a generation where all of these things existed because it's hard even for late career professionals like us,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So,
See, the other challenge I feel young people face today. See, I have a son who's actually 25 and working in Bangalore. So
Mm.
I see, I mean, front bench view of how spending happens. So I think many young people today are actually moving cities. They don't actually stay with their
yeah,
parents. They
yeah,
migrate, they stay in a different place and they have to work. And that is where the maximum career opportunities also come to you,
absolutely,
whether it's women or men. So
absolutely.
once you move cities, this big item called rent comes and lands in your paycheck, right?
Absolutely.
And Bangalore rents are crazy. I mean,
Yeah, they're competing with Mumbai right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 3 BHK costs you 60, 70K and all that in good areas.
Mm.
And you can't stay in the outskirts there because commute takes you 2 hours or something. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this rent itself is such a big chunk, no? So, what happens is because of the rent component being so high, many young people actually ask, should we just buy a house instead of having this rent? Now, instead of rent, why can't I just pay an EMI, right?
Yeah.
I keep telling them it's not a good idea, and I think you also believe that, right?
Yeah. So when rents are very high, right? The temptation to be like, இதுக்கு நான் EMI கட்டுறேன்
கட்டிடலாம்.
is very real. But what I think a lot of young people also kind of need to absorb and understand before making such a big purchase is that it's a 20-year, 25-year commitment.
Yeah.
You might not want this job after 24 months, but you will be tied to a house for 20 years. Like, I think I've written it in the book also. Like, my husband and I bought a house last year. He is nearly 40, I am 36, but it took us this long to commit because it's like 20 years I have to pay, and EMIs are also not small. I would say the moment you look at a 60,000 rent,
Correct.
that house's EMI is going to be 2.5 lakhs.
Easily. Yeah.
I already see it.
Yeah.
Especially these days, because of how Bangalore has developed, they've all become like, they're like small villages, right? Like Indira Nagar is one village, HSR is one village, Outer Ring Road, Sarjapur,
Yeah.
Pakatla, there's one other village. And you have your workplace and you have your house
Yeah.
nearby, and you want to be only like 10 minutes
Yeah.
away from your workplace, right?
Yeah.
And that's understandable because I also commute through Bangalore traffic. And you don't want to be farther than 2-3 kilometers
Mm.
from your workplace. But buying a house is an insane commitment because the moment you say, okay, I have a budget, the house that you want, you're not going to get. Especially, I feel like young career professionals who are
Yeah.
just starting out, no? And you think, okay, 1 BHK, I'll
Amma.
find. And then you are going to grow out of your 1 BHK,
Yeah.
right? So people need to look at this as like a 20-25 year commitment
Right.
and ask yourself, am I ready
Yeah.
for that kind of commitment? Is this the place I'm going to settle in? And also understand that buying a house to live in is not an investment. It is not an investment. As much as we say that, no, in like 5 years, like value will increase, then I'll sell it, I'll get a profit. No, I think the house that you live in, you should not look at as an investment. It is going to be irrational at some level, because you're going to be staying there, you're going to be putting down roots there, you're going to be raising your family there, and you will make certain decisions that might not make investment sense. Like, you'll want to be in a certain area. Like today, if you're someone who grew up in Chennai, within the city, like I grew up in Tinagar, for example, and if I want to buy a house, Tinagar is exorbitant
Yeah.
because it's the prime area in the city, right? You look at Nungambakam real estate prices. You don't even want to go near Alvarpet.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to go there.
Yeah.
So your options are very, very few.
Right.
But sometimes you'll take these irrational decisions because you're like, okay, my child goes to school here, so I'll buy an overpriced apartment
Right.
because this is where I want to be. Whereas if you look at something from an investment perspective, you have to be a bit cold and be like, okay, this is where like growth will happen in the next 5-10 years. This is where I'll have to put money. This is where I'll get maximum profit percentage, right? So I feel like people shouldn't look at buying a home where they're going to live in as an investment decision. Buy it because you want to buy it and you want to live there. Don't try to justify or do mental gymnastics around. If
Yeah.
I do that, then that return will come. That no won't happen. Buy it, live there, be happy. I feel like
Yeah. I think 40s or something is about the right age, because
Yeah.
I feel it also sucks out your savings potential, right? The moment you take
Absolutely.
on this EMI, you have room for no other savings, and then it takes away your mobility also, because you have to live in that house. If you rent it out, you will get 1/4 of your EMI as the
No,
rent.
rental
So,
yields are still very
yeah,
bad in India.
yeah,
Even like, and it's commensurate to each city,
yeah,
right? So although in Bangalore rents are high, now property prices are
even
high.
higher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even higher.
yeah.
And my sister lives in Mumbai. So you said 60,000 for
Ah,
3 BHK. She gets half a bedroom for the same price.
half of
In Vile Parle. So
yeah,
the rental yield is commensurate to like every city,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the rent that you get for the property, for the price that you pay, is still going to be 3%,
easily. Yeah,
only 3%. For that, like, you might as well be on rent. Although I understand why people want to buy a house, because at the end of the day, it becomes your place. No one can drive you out.
right.
Landlords can be cruel. There is no uncertainty. I understand, which is why I say if you want it, you should go and buy it. But don't look at it as an investment. Look at it as a place where you want to put roots in. And if you're not sure about putting roots there, then don't buy. I feel
Yeah,
like, especially young professionals, pay the rent.
yeah,
It's still going to be lower than paying an EMI.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let's move on to money and relationships.
Yeah,
So,
my favorite chapter.
yeah. So, I come from a generation where after 30 years of marriage, you don't know your husband's pay. Okay. Not that I don't know, but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, who will talk about money? Panatha patilam pesuvala
Mm.
veetla, that kind of
Wow.
a thing, like.
பணத்துக்காக தான் என்ன கல்யாணம்
Did
பண்ணியா?
you? I see a lot of outrage on social media also about how arranged marriages have become all about money and
Yesterday, I read
oh,
about a social media network where men have to earn over 50 lakhs
oh,
to be part of that dating app.
I saw that.
Yeah, women no bar.
Women no bar.
Yeah, but men have to earn minimum of 50 lakhs.
What the hell? Yeah. So I mean, how much do you actually talk about money at a very early stage in the relationship? Doesn't it kill the romance? And if you're going to discuss money, what is it that you need to talk about? And see, it's very important, I feel, because once the initial romance wears off, money becomes very important.
Yeah.
And then you may have frequent fights about money if you're not on the same page. I've also seen cases where actually family members use money to control you. Basically, women, I see, I mean, they hand over their entire paycheck at home, and then they have no agency about what they're going to do with their savings or
Yeah.
their pay or
Yeah.
their career. So,
Yeah, I agree. So there's an entire chapter that's dedicated to just money and relationships in the book, because I think after your job, the next big grown-up decision that you'll have to make is with your partner, right? And it is very hard, and it definitely will kill the romance, but you'd rather kill it a little early and be happy afterwards
Yeah.
rather than avoid the topic and then be unhappy or have it um, deteriorate
Yeah.
in the long run. So I feel like with arranged marriages it's a little bit easier
Yeah.
because there is a certain transaction that is happening in the background,
Correct.
right? Where because your parents aren't going to find someone from a dissimilar background,
Right.
they do those checks, so okay, at least your parents are doing those checks for you. But I feel like when you are seeing someone, when you're dating, it's very hard. So you'd rather talk about it a little early to also understand how they react. I feel like people don't think about how the other person will react when you talk about money. Some people get like really offended
Yeah.
and they just lash out. And that in itself is a red flag. If you
Yeah.
can't talk about money in a calm way and understand that, yeah, it's important, it's awful to be talking about something so administrative. But if the other person is also on the same page as you
Yeah.
and you can have a conversation with them, that in itself is a very good signal that you've got a partner with you for life. Because at the end of the day, life costs money, like
Yeah.
you can have a very romantic partner, but at the end of the day, it's money is a tool with which we live our everyday lives, from groceries to rent to which school are we going to put our kids in, to can we afford to have kids. All of these are conversations you need to be comfortable having. So you'd rather talk about it a little earlier, saying, hey, I'm in this kind of job, like I make so much, what about you? And if in the first couple of conversations itself they're very avoidant when
Yeah.
it comes to talking about money, I'm not saying this is going to be a pleasant conversation. They'll also be awkward, you'll also be awkward, but you'd rather be awkward together, right? Then the other person being avoidant all the time. If they're going to avoid talking about money, then you definitely know that something is happening there.
Yeah.
And regarding agency, I know a lot of men who are happy to not interfere.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you do whatever
Do
you
what?
want with
Yeah.
it. But the women, in some cases, are like, no, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. You
So
take care
you
of it.
take care.
Yeah.
You take it. Like, I don't know what to do.
Mm.
So that is one case where the husband is like, okay, like if you're not going to manage it, I'll manage it.
Yeah.
It's fine. So that is one case. The other case is where you are obligated to give it,
Yeah.
right? Where there is like a kind of familial obligation, especially in a joint family setting.
Mm.
And these are all the things that you can avoid by talking about money early on,
Yeah.
where you draw your own boundaries and say, hey, I have parents to support, like I have older parents to support. I want to like make sure that a significant part of my salary goes towards them. So how do you want to approach it? If these are questions that we can ask earlier on before the commitment is sealed,
Yeah.
then you have a very clear picture of what's going to happen with your money. But when you go into these things without really addressing it or talking about it, I feel like in the South, we are also told to like adjust pannu.
Uh-huh.
It'll be like this only. Like
Uh-huh.
all of those things are also told to us, but I feel like it's up to us to kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
break
Yeah.
that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And sadly, this confidence only comes from age. I feel like if
Yeah.
when you're a little older, when you get married, you have like the
Perhaps. Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of like I want to say strength
Mm.
to at least tell your own parents
Yeah.
that listen, this is not done. Versus like when you're young and then you kind of like take that on. So these are things that I've addressed. It's not a pleasant conversation. Not everybody is going to have the uniform experience. If both of us invest in the same fund, both of us get the same return. It's not that. Everyone, all of us will have varying mileages. All of us will have varying returns on this. But it's a very necessary conversation. And the more comfortable you get early on,
Yeah.
the easier it really truly becomes. Like I am no one to say that I had an easy time. Like I said, I was a chartered accountant at first in practice. I did my husband's taxes before I really truly started talking to him about money. I saw his bank account, I saw everything, and only then I was like, okay, we need to talk about money. It's not enough if I see everything. So that was a slightly different start I had to these conversations. But It's very necessary. And I think for the women who are in the first bucket, where it's an equal partner, and I think most of us are actually in that bucket where your partner is supportive, your partner does want to help you
Yeah.
make the best out of your combined money. He's not hiding anything from you, or he's not taking away your agency, but it's just that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like they are also people who need to have this conversation, saying, hey, okay, like, where is our money going? What have you invested in? And get that picture. Because one of the things that also happened in the pandemic is that a lot of middle aged, I'm talking
Yeah.
like 45s, 50s, we saw a lot of men dying, like
Yeah.
heads of
Yeah.
families dying,
Yeah.
right?
Breadwinners. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw a lot of breadwinners die, and all of them good people. And I have seen so many COVID widows who have had absolutely no idea
Yeah.
of what their husband has done. And like in 2021, I heard these stories of like the breadwinner, the head of the family, has passed away, and the widow, she's like, she's in already in one state, and she's calling up the chartered accountant. Chartered accountant is also in the hospital. So
Oh.
yeah, it's like he's also searching for oxygen cylinder on the other end. So it's like, you at least need to know where the money is.
Yeah.
And it's like, this poor man would have gotten term insurance, he would have
Yeah.
gotten life insurance, he would have done mutual
Yeah.
funds,
If
he'd
you
have
don't
done
know where it
everything.
is.
But the full picture of what is where, because we don't write wills in our country,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you write will, it means you'll die. So
Yeah.
not like you won't die any other time, but if you write it, death is coming for you. So we are very and we don't have the concept of living wills
Correct.
in our country just yet. So we're very superstitious about all of those things. So the information does not get passed on to the other. And then at a time of grief, when the partner is supposed to be grieving, instead she's running from this government office to some other office to get something signed. Then the bank guy will be like, nomination file panna madam. And then you have to go to some lawyer, get like some legal air certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very hectic actually getting your money passed on.
Correct.
So knowing where each thing is very
Yeah,
important.
yeah,
I feel like you don't even have to make the investing decisions.
Yeah.
You just need to know where everything is. That's
Yeah.
all.
No, the other reason I found to actually have different finances is that basically you may not be the same personalities, right? One person may spend a lot, other person may be thrifty,
Yeah.
one may be a risk taker, other may like to be very conservative. So these are also reasons to actually manage it independently, right?
Absolutely. And I think for couples who are earning the same amount of money, in the sense that these days
Yeah.
it's not like there's a big age difference between two people getting
Mm.
married, right? And they're both likely in the same stages in their careers. So when you are also earning 1 lakh and the other person is also earning 1 lakh, for example, then the both of you have like a combined stake on the household pot.
Right.
And these are also things that are good to discuss, by the way, before getting married, in terms of how do you spend your money. If someone is very comfortable taking EMIs, whereas you are not, that is
Yeah.
also like a red flag.
Yeah.
It will lead to disagreements, because if you think that borrowing casually is okay, whereas the other person is like, no, I won't borrow even if I can, those are also like mismatches in like money values, right? So you're right in that all of this stuff leads to arguments. And one of the ways couples can kind of set this aside and live their lives is when they decide, okay, together we are going to save so much, and that is non-negotiable. Whatever is left over, you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Don't get into the micro
Don't get into
details.
the micro
Yeah.
management of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
You don't have to look into every purchase that she is making,
Yeah.
and she doesn't have to look at every investment that you are making.
Yeah.
But both of you need to have like some combined
Yeah.
view, right? Where it's like, okay, these are our shared expenses. Obviously, you have rent, you have groceries, both of you going out, eating out, etc., etc. And then you have like a target of savings. You put that in, you save first thing in the month, you pay off all like your domestic help, your rent, etc., etc., etc. Whatever is left over, you spend how you want it, I'll spend how I want it. That is one approach.
Yes.
That is one approach. After that, you can figure out, every couple will have their own kind of
Yeah.
approach. But what's important is to have an approach, number one, and to be aligned on the approach. Number two, it can't be like I'll do what I want, you do what I want. Like that also doesn't work.
Right. So one fad I see nowadays is this fire, right? Financial independent and
Retire early.
retire early. So one of the common personal finance questions that I also get in the Hindu is, I'm earning 60,000 a month. With this 60,000, how can I invest so that I get 1 lakh a month income and I can retire at 40? So
How
the
do I build
maths,
this to a
the
4
maths,
crore
yes,
corpus?
the maths doesn't make any sense actually. But first of all, is fire possible even for Indians? Because I've seen these blogs from the US actually, where people say, I was an investment banker, I retired at 40, now I'm living in a beach house and I'm going barefoot walks, and my children are learning to build things and cook and everything. So that sounds like a very good life, but in India, is it even a feasible thing? I mean,
I don't think any of these fire people want to retire in India. Or if they do, they'll be like, I want to go to one village and I want to start farming.
correct,
That's
organic
yeah,
farming.
I want to start a farm and grow my own avocados is a fairly common dream. And fire is getting very popular
Yeah.
because if you actually look at it, the root of it is that our corporate culture is broken.
Yeah.
Like if working was
Yeah.
tolerable,
Yeah.
nobody would want to retire early. It's like, okay, you go spend 8 hours, you come back, you're done, you're able to disconnect from work. I feel like our previous generation was able to disconnect from work because there were no cell phones, there was no email.
Yeah.
Today, you can work 20 hours a day
Yes.
if you want to, right? So, corporate culture is broken. And that's why everybody wants to exit the
Yeah.
rat race, so they say. And there's this, there are so many groups today that talk about, okay, how much do I need to fire? How do I fire? Etc.
Yeah.
Etc. And what you'll see in all these groups is that there are a lot of questions but no answers because, because it is genuinely very difficult. And you will see a lot of the people who have fired usually have had these tech jobs in the US
Yes.
where they were earning in dollars.
Yeah.
When you earn in dollars and you come back to India and then the multiplier effect
Yes.
happens.
By
Yes.
85, then
By
great.
85, yes. Even in Dubai for that matter.
Yeah.
People go to the Middle East to earn.
Yeah.
And then, they buy their property in full, no EMIs and all. Then they come back and okay, you have like the optionality to kind of slow down for
Yeah.
a bit. But I still think fire is a very dangerous thing to kind of aspire for because one, we are living longer than we ever
Yeah.
thought we would. Like today, the average lifespan is 85
Easily. I think
easily.
in affluent families, it is 85.
Yeah, when you can eat well, when you have access to good medical
Yeah.
care, you can easily live 95, 100. And these days, do 40-year-olds look like 40-year-olds? No. Do 50-year-olds look like 50-year-olds? No. Everyone is fit. People are running marathons. You go see Chennai runners.
Yeah.
The fittest guy will be like a 55-year-old, the one who's running marathons. So when we can be healthier and when we can live longer,
Yeah.
retirement itself is very scary. I feel like even if you retire at 65, you have to plan for 20 more years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So imagine retiring at 40. You need to plan for 40 years. Your 60,000 per month salary is and you combine that with inflation.
Yeah.
You combine that with time value of money and
Yeah.
how the value of money in itself will deteriorate. What is more feasible is finding a line of work that is bearable and
Yeah.
pays you enough. You don't have to be at like some top Silicon Valley startup, whatever. Like, you don't have to. Instead, if you spend that effort getting into a job that pays you reasonably well,
Mm.
that has reasonable hours, and is reasonably bearable. Because I think people also underestimate what happens to you when you don't have a job, when you don't have something to get up to and do
Yeah.
in the morning. Everyone thinks that's the dream life.
Yeah.
Try it for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you'll be like, please, I want my boss back. I want my cabin back. I want my computer back. I want my email back. Because all of us need some kind of purpose,
Yeah.
in life. I feel like
And
you
our
need
very
some.
identities are tied to work,
Yeah.
right? Like, so when people meet you and ask, what are you doing? I say, I work, I write in BusinessLine. You must be saying you actually, write this blog, you work at that
Yeah.
insurance company,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
work at.
that is the first thing we say. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And even for homemakers,
Yeah.
right? I feel like my mother's a homemaker, and for her, running the household is like a full-time
It
job.
is.
So the moment we say, okay, let's get a cook or let's get someone else,
Ah.
no, they need control. And that is
Yeah.
work, that is
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah.
So when I say, why are you still waking up and why are you still like doing everything? She's like, no, this is like, that is also her quote unquote job,
Yeah.
right? That is her purpose. That's why she wakes up, because she has a routine.
Yeah.
She needs to follow that routine. So all of us need that purpose in our lives. And I feel like once you kind of figure out what your purpose is and you figure out if it can pay you, then you can do it for a very long time, right? Instead of trying to crash and burn, as
Yeah.
they say, like you
Yeah.
work like really hard, you work like 20 hours a day. What happens? Your health also takes a toll,
Yeah.
right? Like if you put yourself under immense pressure, saying, okay, I'll work for a top company, I'll double my salary, but like work crazy hours.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
your health takes a toll, right? So I feel like fire is the very antithesis of balance. Like instead you can strive for balance.
Yes.
Figure out a way to work as long as you can.
Yeah. The other thing I found about fire is it's based on some very theoretical
Yeah,
calculation. So
4% rule.
4% withdrawal rule.
Withdrawal rule.
But besides that, I mean, even how you get to fire, people say, I mean, every month you save, say, 50% of your salary and
60, 70
60,
sometimes.
and then you put that in an equity fund at 12% return, as if 12%
Is
somebody is
assured.
guaranteeing
12% is assured.
12% return for 30 years.
Yeah.
And for 30 years, you keep up the SIP like an automaton, and
Mm.
then you retire. I mean, who keeps up investments with such discipline? These are all good on spreadsheets, but they never come true in real
And
life.
it doesn't account for anything happening to you. What if there's a
Yeah.
sudden medical emergency at home?
Yeah. We want to take a
Right?
break.
If anyone has had an angioplasty in their family, they'll know how much of
Yeah.
their savings they'll have to withdraw.
Yeah.
Sometimes start from scratch, right?
Absolutely.
So you're also assuming that nothing is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And you're also, a lot of people I know, if you read the Reddit groups where fire, people are giving up on marriage.
Ah.
Because they're like, no man, it'll get very expensive if I get married. I'll have to have a child. I'll have to pay school fees. So I won't be able to save that much. I can't retire.
Yeah, then
You
what
know.
is life
Then
for?
what?
No, like at least I also hear this question about having children. They'll say, oh, if we have children, we can't do fire. I say, Arey, children is not a financial decision. It is costly to have children, but it's not a financial decision. It's more an emotional decision whether you want to be a parent or not, right? I mean,
It's both, I would say, in today's day and time. In that you want to be ready.
yeah.
You want to be financially ready. You want to keep that in the back of your mind instead of just saying, okay, paathukalam. Which is like a very Indian thing where like your
Yeah.
parents say, pettuko paathukalam. And then it's like, naanga pettunome. And I'm like, very different times, right?
Yes.
Today, a lot of people, what's happening is that it's sort of like a double whammy in that women are also waiting to have kids because
Yeah.
they're like, okay, let me get settled in my career. And it's fair because these days, in order to just pay rent, you need to be double income family. And then when you're like, okay, you know what, 28, like I'm ready. We'll have, not 28, sorry, like at 34, 35, they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're ready. We'll have kids and all. You end up not being able to conceive,
Yeah.
like also because of modern day stressors,
Yeah, yeah.
because of work and, whatever habits, etc. So you end up having to spend on like IVF,
Yeah.
which is very expensive and not guaranteed also. So you start there, even before the baby comes, you're already spending,
Yeah.
right? And we're talking lakhs
Yeah.
for stuff like IVF. Again, because you can afford it, okay, you're like, okay, I'll spend this money, I'll do the IVF. And then, pregnancy today, like most women, especially working professionals and like modern professional families where both are earning, they don't want to go to nursing homes,
Yeah.
right? And you'd rather go to like a big hospital chain. And over there, I had my child 8 years ago, so I'm sure things are much more expensive now. You have to deposit like a lakh or a lakh and a half upfront.
Oh.
I'm talking 2016. Like you had to deposit a lakh
Now it
and a half
must be
upfront.
2.5 lakhs.
Yeah, I'm sure much more. And like your checkups and everything else.
Yeah. Oh.
That's in Mumbai. So, yeah.
Nanavati.
So you deposit that money, and then that gets like
Set off
set off
against.
against like your checkups and like your scans, X-rays, all of that stuff, and then finally delivery when it happens. And what a lot of young people also haven't realized just as yet is that unless you have corporate health insurance, birth is not covered.
It's not, yeah.
It's not covered under health insurance. So if you are running a business or if you have a practice or something, you'll find out the hard way that your health insurance is not
Covering maternity.
covering maternity,
Yeah.
right? So there are all these factors that come in when you have the child. So you want to be financially ready also, because again, because of pressure, there's also like this pressure to raise your child a certain way
Yeah.
and to get certain things for them. I feel like when we were kids, that
Yeah,
pressure was
yeah.
not there. Today, everything is visible, right?
Yeah.
You want your kid to have this
Yeah.
particular, what, like that carrying thing, like carrier, baby carrier. You need car seat, you need stroller, you
Yeah.
need baby shower,
Yeah.
like you need all of those things. So all of that is also expenses.
Yes.
So I do have a chapter on
Yeah.
like having a child and the cost of having a child. Like, try buying diapers every month
Yes.
for 1.5 to 2 years. Try buying formula every month for 1.5 to 2 years. Those things really add up.
And if you buy it through quick commerce, it'll be double the cost.
Yeah. And no one's like selling it in bulk or anything. So when all of those things add up, it's pressure. So the question really becomes, can you absorb this
Yeah,
pressure?
correct.
So that is why, like, I also wrote that because no one wants to talk about it. They'll be like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you know, like you're having a child, you
When
don't
you're
want to bring
putting a
money in.
money value.
Yeah, don't put money
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a money value, and your child is the most precious thing. I agree. But make sure you're having a child at a time when you can afford to buy diapers and formula month on month on month on month on month,
Yeah.
because all of it will happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to think about these things. Today, look at school fees.
Yeah.
You look at Montessori fees. Like,
Yeah, I was recently seeing a Twitter conversation where they were saying 3.5 lakhs for preschool and LKG and all.
6 lakhs now.
Whereas all our life, I mean, my parents, I think, paid 5 rupees a year or something in Kendriya Vidyalaya to get me educated. It's not.
It is
Yeah.
not. None of these things are necessary.
For the FD or some SIP and all, instead of that,
Yeah,
school fee is more important than baby shower.
definitely.
So that new generation mindset should be changed.
I agree. It's very difficult. I think that's like saying
Yeah.
don't buy anything on Mintra. Like, but because like I'm saying, young people are also living in this world where you are invited for your friends' baby
Yeah.
showers. So it becomes like a circle thing, right? And when your peer group sends their children to certain schools, for example, like in my school group, everyone is sending their kids back to Padma Sheshadri Vidya Mandir and like all of those schools, right? And even those schools seem okay. Like, there are a bunch of new age schools today in Chennai that
Yeah,
like
international. and all.
international schools that charge in the dollars only. Like, you're paying school fees in dollars, I feel. And what happens is that while you want the best education for your child, some of the soft spending that happens in the background is like, yes, I can afford fees. For example, like corporate professional, we can afford the fees. But there are so many things that come with it, like the friend circle. Like, we also have to remember that everybody there are also people who can afford it, and sometimes they can afford more.
Yeah.
So all those kids will be growing up with a certain kind of, they'll be growing up in certain kind of homes. They'll be getting certain kind of toys. When you go to their birthday parties, it'll be held at certain
Yeah.
places. And kids are observant.
Yeah.
They'll be like, what, he went, his party was there. You put my party also over there only. Like, I also want Funky Monkey birthday party. Book out the entire place. And, they like, today my son is 8, so he'll be like, my friend has Nintendo Switch PlayStation. I also want Nintendo Switch PlayStation. So you also have to remember what peer group you're putting your kids in.
Yeah.
Because all of that is also going to add up in terms of money. So what I actually write in the book is that there is no right decision, right? We're all very emotional when it comes to our children. And having the child itself, like you said, is an emotional decision. But to genuinely just be aware of the monetary consequences that come with each of these emotional decisions.
Yeah.
You don't need a baby shower, like ma'am said. You don't need it, right? But because you're going to be emotional, you're saying, okay, it's my first baby, I want like good
Yeah.
vibes or whatever. Just remember that it's going to cost you money. It's going to set you back. And everything has an opportunity cost, right? Like you can always put that money for something else. You don't need a baby photo shoot. Nobody needs a baby photo shoot. You can always put that money to something else. Your child doesn't have to go to an international school. I actually feel like most Indian curriculums, like your CBSE, ICSE, better equip your child to go international than international schools do.
Okay.
Because I feel like if you can crack an Indian entrance exam, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
crack any entrance
Anything.
exam.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. 10
So,
lakh, 13 lakh people writing
yeah,
exam for
imagine your
500 seats
yeah,
or something.
yeah. And if you
Yeah.
can put yourself under the pressure to write a CAT
Yeah.
or
JEE
or a
or
JEE, you can crack GMAT, GRE and all with your eyes
nothing.
closed.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like that is also something
Yeah.
that people overthink these days, which is why I felt like it needed a chapter on its
Yeah.
own.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've covered most of the chapters there, and we can't. I mean, we shouldn't let out too much of what's in the book.
Yeah, yeah.
Also.
Please buy the book.
So, so can I open it up to questions? If any of you have any questions, please feel free to shoot.
Hi. So, could you delve into what the consequences are of not talking about personal finance in schools and colleges? Because I feel like that's having a very big impact in the way the youth spends their money. And like you had rightly pointed out, a lot of things that are not technically required for life education is being covered in these schools and colleges. But there's such a crucial skill. If you,
I agree. I agree. I actually think it should be made part of like your EVS or civics or some kind of social studies curriculum. It's definitely a life skill that is very important. And what happens when we aren't taught about the importance of money? So, most of us would have grown up with vague instances of money conversations in our household. I realized that I grew up in a very outlier household because our parents constantly spoke to us about it. And the book title itself is something that my father used to tell me all the time. "Kaas hai na marat laya kaiko," like whenever, you'd go and ask something. So what happens is that when money starts coming in, right? And when you have to manage it, you don't have any tools or thought processes around what you need to do. So when you aren't told that it is important to save, because one, money can grow, and two, prices around you is going to increase, like inflation. Like if you aren't taught four basic things, okay, which I call the four pillars of finance in my book, which is time value of money, that money today is worth more than money tomorrow. Two is inflation, that things that cost something today will cost more in the future. Three is compounding, the fact that money can earn money, can earn money, can earn money, your investments growing. And compounding takes time, right? That's a very important lesson. So the earlier you start saving, the better. That's really the lesson that compounding teaches you. And four is liquidity, which is that money is useless if it cannot be taken out, right? So you want to be able to put money in places where you can also take it out, and you need to have that balance. So these are the four things that I feel is like ABCD of personal finance. And also, when you aren't taught to save, I feel like most of us aren't really, you're not actively taught to save money when you're in school. And then you go to college, whatever, you're still off on pocket money, you're being given something every week. And then when you go for your job and you see a large amount of money coming in, you get very overwhelmed. It's like you were never taught to handle that kind of money, right? So what happens is that either you delay saving, right, where you keep it in like your savings bank account. I'm not saying you'll become spendthrift. You're just going to delay investing. You're just going to delay the process of active investing, where you're just going to keep it in your bank account, not knowing what to do with it. Or you make really poor financial choices because you're like, I have all this money, I can do whatever I want, I will live my life. So you end up learning personal finance the hard way. That's really what happens when you aren't exposed to personal finance at a younger age. And I
Yeah.
do think it's a very real consequence. And I still don't know why schools haven't picked this up as part of their
Yeah.
curriculum.
No, there's something I want to add to this. If you're not taught about money, you also fall prey to financial scams very easily.
Correct.
And today they are dime a dozen. There's a video of RBI governor coming and telling you, if you put 1 lakh rupees, I'll give you 21 lakh rupees. Now, if you had even the basic financial literacy, you'll know this is impossible. And
Yes.
so I feel this because these scams and especially cyber crime is so prevalent today, not knowing anything about finance really makes you more vulnerable to these things.
Absolutely. And it also makes you susceptible to modern snake oil schemes
Yeah.
like cryptocurrency,
Crypto,
which, if you remember,
crypto
like crypto
deposits.
deposits.
Yeah.
If you remember in 2020, 21, when cryptos and NFTs were at their
Yeah.
peak, everyone saw it as like a free money scheme
Yeah.
where you put in 1,000, you'll get back 10,000. And people were making it seem like that also.
Yeah.
But if you knew little bit of finance, you'd know that, okay, this whole thing is like one
Yeah.
lottery system bubble. Nobody knows who's making money. Everyone is saying they're making money, but no one knows. And when that big crash happened,
Mm.
the number of people who had devastated their finances, there were stories about people who had taken credit card loans
Mm.
at like 48% per annum interest to put money in crypto,
Goodness.
right?
Yeah.
And sure, like crypto might be back up now, but I don't think any of us are like dirghadarisis to see like, okay, like, yeah, in
Yeah.
5 years later it'll go up or whatever. So many people lost their money
Yeah.
and burnt their fingers because there was no regulations around it, and everybody was just playing in it. So I feel like having some knowledge of finance and understanding risk,
Yeah.
right, will also help you make better decisions.
Yeah.
Knowing how
Yeah.
much you have to play with, you can like take bets, you
Yeah.
can take big bets, but having that budget to take bets, right, saying, okay, I will not invest more than 10,000 rupees, like I can play with 10,000 rupees.
Mm.
I'm not like, I would never say don't try your luck in some high risk thing. I feel like when you're young you can try, but have like a budget. Be like, okay, I'll put in 10,000 bucks and see what happens. For example, if you're earning like, if that 10,000 is like 5% of your salary or something, you're like, okay, I can afford to take a risk with 5%. I can absorb it. I'll see what happens. And if you're ready to let go of that money, sure, go ahead and play with it. But if you're going to put money in something that will give you 15x, 30x, that you believe will give you, it's not going to, nothing will give you 15x, 30x. So those are all the consequences of not having a basic curriculum in personal finance in schools. You become more susceptible to cyber crimes. You believe in very arbitrary, unregulated, dangerous schemes, and you learn how to control your money the hard way. You'll end up falling before
Yeah.
you get back up. Yes.
Good evening, Lavanya. Thank you, for explaining things so candidly.
Thank you.
One aspect which you spoke about very shortly is about the health part of it. So, what would your recommendation be for putting money aside for health, whether it's insurance or whether it's insurance? I mean, multiple insurances, or how do we want to cope with this aspect, the medical bills? I mean,
Yeah.
when you say that people are going to leave till 85, 95, then there would be those kind of things. And then you also know that insurance at old age is not applicable. I mean, it stops around 70. I have a second question, which is on what would your recommendation be that people should, or normal people who have a little bit of understanding, should do their investments themselves, or should they take help from some kind of agency or the so-called financial advisors, and so on and so forth? So,
Okay. So, two questions. First question regarding health. Um, Health inflation in India is at like some crazy 14% every year. So your bills are going to get more expensive by 14% every year. If you are young, definitely get health insurance. It's worth it. Even though premiums are also increasing every year. The one thing that I would recommend, and I have some learnings in the book as someone who's working in insurance, is look out for certain terms and conditions, right? The first term and condition I would ask you to look out for is room rent limit. Make sure that you're getting a policy that does not have a room rent limit, because something that a lot of us don't understand is that the cost of the treatment, even the cost of your syringe and like your disposable stuff, will change as per the room you're in. It'll be the same brand syringe, it'll be the same gloves that the doctor is using, but if you're in a standard room, it'll be 100 rupees. If you're in a suite room, it'll be 500 rupees. Same doctor will visit you in standard room, his consultation charges will be 250 rupees. Same doctor will come visit you in the suite room, his consultation charges will be 1000 rupees. So what happens with room rent limits in your health insurance is that they will say that I will only pay for standard room charges in the health insurance. So let's say you take a policy for 5 lakhs and you went to like a suite room, because in some cases only that room might be available. You want at the hospital, only that suite room is available. Then what happens is that even if your bill is only 1 lakh and you've taken a policy for 5 lakhs, because you've taken it at a suite room, they'll only pay you standard room charges. So you might not have even used the full 5 lakhs, but because you used a different room, there'll be limits, right? Because your treatment would have cost 25,000 in the standard room, they'll only pay you 25,000 rupees. So, lab tests also change with the room. So everything from syringe to the same surgery, you can deliver the same child. Child is not going to change, no? Depending on this room or that room, costs will change. So that is one term and condition to look out for. The other thing that you can look at if you feel like you're of decent financial health is this condition called copay. So what you're doing with copay is that the insurer will pay a certain amount. He will pay, for example, 40% of the bill up to your sum insured, right? And you pay the rest. Here, the premiums will be lower because you are allowing that guy to say, I will only pay 40% of your bill. So that is a condition. So if you want the insurer to take care of the entire bill, you want to make sure there is zero copay or 100% bill covered or some condition like that. You want to make sure the bill is fully covered. You want to make sure there's no room rent limit. And third, you want to look at what the waiting periods are like. You want to make an informed decisions. All policies in my knowledge have the same kinds of waiting periods in that. None of them, it is not very different, but it's something that you need to know. In that, as soon as you buy your health insurance, you can't get a hernia surgery, for example, for the first 2 years. You can't get certain kinds of surgeries in the first 4 years. After 4 years, basically every condition is covered. Mostly every condition is covered. And after 8 years, if you've been paying health insurance premium for 8 years, then the insurer can't deny any claim for you. He has to pay whatever claim you have. So, what we say as people who work in insurance is that buy the health insurance early. So that way you would have paid premiums for like 8 years. You will have very few pre-existing conditions. And the insurer, hopefully by the time you're older in your 50s, you would have paid enough premiums for them to pay any claim of yours that you might have. Now, the challenges that you might face is when you try to insure for your parent, because right now senior citizen policies are like off the roof. Like I think people are paying like 80,000 just in premium, right? In that case, it might actually just make sense to save some amount of money, keep it in an FD, to be like, okay, I have like 5 lakhs that you save over a period of time and you earmark it for medical emergencies. In some cases, especially when you're being rejected, and I think underwriting in insurance companies is getting stricter and stricter to the point where if you're diabetic, they don't give you anything. Or they say, conditions arising out of diabetes will not be covered. Everything is arising out of. They can connect anything back to diabetes, no? So you'd rather just save some amount of money and earmark it and be like, okay, this is what I will keep, right? But planning for health expenses is very important. I would still recommend like getting some form of insurance for yourself if you're not in that senior citizen bracket, and just being regular with paying premiums.
Yeah, one additional thing to be aware of is that health insurance in India is mostly Mediclaim. So it
Yeah.
means that if you're hospitalized, they will pay the bill.
Yeah,
So if
OPD is
you're
not
doing
covered.
some treatment at home, we all have chronic conditions. We may have diabetes, thyroid, all that. We'll be taking tablets. All that will not be covered by health insurance. So
Yeah.
for that, we have to save separately. The other thing, contingency, when you get older, which doesn't get covered, is home care. So
Yeah.
in the case of my parents, they were bedridden for a long time. We used nursing services.
Yeah.
None of that is covered by insurance because it's not hospitalization. So I feel as we get older, that is one contingency for which we do need to save, because we may need an attender or a caretaker or something, and
And
that
that is like a
will,
monthly outgo
yeah,
along with
and we
medicine.
can't go and get admitted to the hospital for months together, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes an issue.
Another
So
expensive procedure that no health insurer covers is dental. If you've
hmm,
had a root canal, you'd know how
my,
expensive that is.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
nobody
covered.
covers dental.
Not
No
covered.
one covers dental. So that is also something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being a dentist is very profitable.
In fact, if you see, what is it? Tata AG has a policy. It says that they give dental as an add-on
Okay.
only, but they will not tell you that it has to be.
Because of an accident.
But no, it says only non-outpatient, only
Oh.
admission.
Oh.
After you've taken the policy.
Imagine getting admitted.
Yeah, so
for
you'll
it.
have to get general anesthesia, be in bed.
Crazy.
When you have the when you take the policy.
Mostly outpatient.
Yes.
Yes, and they put it as it has to be outpatient only. It is not to be outpatient. It has to be in admission in hospital. They will not tell that we'll take the policy.
Right.
And then later on you get to know this.
Yeah. There is also a dangerous lack of transparency across most insurers. ACO is not like that. I'll talk about my own. But a lot of it is mired in all these terms and conditions, right? And it is very empowering to know what's going on in that document, because you can make these decisions. Imagine paying 40,000 rupees premium only to know that you are not going to get what you want. You would have rather saved that money, and you'd have rather put it aside. So even what we recommend from, like, I know that, like, my company says that if you are a senior citizen, you're better off earmarking some money, but get health insurance when you're young. Like, please, like, tell your siblings, cousins, nephews, nieces, everyone to get health insurance, a retail policy when you are young. Because the other thing that happens is a lot of us on corporate covers, right? When we leave our jobs, let's say to freelance or whatever, you lose the health insurance. And you can't port corporate policies, right? So what happens is that you end up buying health insurance for the first time in your mid 40s when you've decided to take this break. And by the time you're mid 40, you'd have gotten some BP, diabetes, something.
Pre-existing thing.
Some pre-existing thing happens. So buy health insurance when you're healthy so that your premiums are low.
Yeah.
Company, when you join the company, you take it.
Yeah, separately. Yeah. So that was question 1. Number 2, you wanted to know whether
Whether you should have financial
advisor or not. It really, I think, depends. If you really trust your chartered accountant, if you really trust them, then you can go to them for financial advice. But today, I think there are multiple resources that can help you get where you want to. Because, you can actually just by ET Wealth, you can subscribe to Prime Investor. So Aarti ma'am works at a place called Prime Investor. I'm giving you an example of one of the places that will help the layman, right? So what they do at Prime Investor is, number 1, they educate you about investing. Number 2, they have ready-made portfolios.
Yeah,
Right?
we have ready-made recommendations for
Ready-made
FDs,
recommendations.
mutual funds, stocks, insurance, even health
Yeah, so
insurance, life
you pay a
insurance.
very minimal
Yeah,
fee.
we have a list of recommended products, and we keep writing about things also, like
And
this copay clause or these kind of things we keep writing.
And it's all heavily researched. This is one. There's another one called Markets Mojo, I think. Yeah, Mojo. So all of them have these ready-made portfolios which are researched, right? So it's not like some random, okay, I will close my eyes, pick some 10 stocks. There's a lot of research, and it is created for certain types of investors. For example, if you are on the low risk spectrum, like you don't want to take too much risk, there is a portfolio for you. If you are more aggressive, then there is a portfolio for you. So that is the kind of
So these are annual subscription, like 5,000 or something like
you
that.
pay that 5,000 rupees a year. Think of it as fees that you're paying a financial advisor. You get the product, And then it's just like one less thing you have to think about. So that is definitely, I think, a modern route for people who might have not had, we have family doctors, family CAs. If you don't have family doctor, family CA, you can definitely approach any of these fintechs.
Yeah, earlier people used to have financial advisors to do the transaction part. So to
Yeah.
buy mutual fund, buy shares.
Yeah.
Nowadays the transaction part has become very, very easy. Anybody can do it on their phone, etc. So all you need to know is what to buy.
Yeah.
So that what to buy, if somebody can solve for you, then it's
Yeah,
becomes
and
very
it is very difficult to buy today because there are like some 3,000 mutual fund schemes, and you'd rather pay someone a small amount of money to take that research work out of your life, and then you can outsource it, and it makes your life easy. So that is your other solution.
Hi, I'm Raja Raman. So I have some list of questions, but I restrict to two.
Thank you.
Yeah, so people are not thought about personal finance or income taxes or stock market in their childhoods, but they felt to a master class conducted by a person who sells for 99% in just 2 hours. So what's your opinion on that?
See, there is one proverb about how um, what thieves will steal as long as there are people to steal from. No, as long as there are people ready to buy snake oil, there'll be people ready to sell snake oil. So I think all of us at some level in today's day and time just want easy solutions, and these master classes promise easy solutions without delivering. So I would definitely say, if you get these ads on Instagram, read the comments before buying anything. Like, read reviews, see if there are reviews, do a bit of due diligence before putting your money onto it. I think with personal finance, it is a journey. No one can teach you everything you need to know within 2 hours. It's not uh, possible, it's not feasible. It's like, I don't know if you watched, there's this movie called Tamil Padam. This is a very vague reference. The hero, it's a parody movie. So the hero wants to learn Bharatanatyam dance to impress his girlfriend or whatever. So he'll read a book called ஒரே இரவில் பரதம் கத்துப்பது எப்படி அப்படின்னு. So it's like, there are these books, no, 30 நாளில் தமிழ் 30 நாளில் Hindi. So it's like that only, like ஒரே. So it takes you 30 days to learn even like basic language, right? For personal finance, it's a lifelong journey, which is why I keep saying it's like learning Carnatic music. It's like learning a language. You can pick up the alphabet, you can pick up the basics, but if you really want to get into it and make it a part of your life, you need to have a daily conversation with it. So I would definitely say, um, get a resource like this one that can help you with the start, or any book for that matter. There are lots of like excellent authors out there that can help you grasp the basics. And after that, I think something as simple as reading the Hindu Business Line or Economic Times will kind of help you. Economic Times has a fantastic supplement called ET Wealth.
wealth. Yeah.
It's superb.
Yeah.
You just read that every week. I feel
Yeah.
like your confidence will soar.
Also, with money, I think apart from knowing the basics through reading, you need to do things to really
Yeah.
learn also. Like when others make mistakes, you don't learn. When you
No,
make
no.
mistakes, only you
You have to
actually
lose
learn.
money to learn.
Yeah, you have to lose money a bit. Tuition fee to the market, it's
Yeah.
called. So
You know how you can't drive until you scratch your car?
Yeah.
Like, you have to scratch your car a couple of times. Only then.
That is, it is only just a class for her to learn the basics only.
Yeah.
I'm investing last 20 years, so that I learned from I have the experience of 30 years. I never invested my money with some fund manager or not taking any class. Only I'm reading some newspaper and my experience is this. What is that one stocks up down? What is it to do with high low? And that's in that
Yeah. You learn by doing.
experience only. And that is take time. Not in the one day I learned how to invest money.
Yeah.
Correct.
How make money. In 20 years I invest 25 lakhs and make whatever I make. So that is it's a long process, not a one day you can do.
You have one more question.
So people with their savings go towards fancy terms like starting a startup or opening a restaurant. So eventually they disappear in months, or they with their money they go for fancy terms like options or derivatives and
Yeah, my favorite.
investor premium only to lose eventually. So what's the shift of people towards those things instead of waiting for a compounding thing?
So, number one, where it's like starting a business or a cafe or a restaurant, is just romanticizing a lot of the things that we see. I feel like in films and in pop culture and all, like everybody wants to start a
Tamil
cafe.
serials. Everybody has a restaurant.
Yeah,
only.
everyone wants to start something, like do something on your own, then like wipe sweat and all. So that is just romanticization, and I feel like if you do the adequate research behind, especially F&B, which is one of the most loss-making businesses that you can run, you wouldn't go near it. But because there's always this optimism bias where you think like, okay, no, I will do it differently. I am not like everybody else. You tend to go there, and then you have to burn your fingers before, you know. So, but I would say that is still more noble than putting money in derivatives. I feel like at least you start right to do something over there. In FNO, it's like you're going into quicksand knowing it is quicksand, but you believe that you can escape. So there are enough statistics from SEBI, and there are enough warnings that have been made mandatory in every demat account where it tells you FNO is very risky. Like the average loss, I think the numbers came out, no? The average loss that every trader made below 30, traders below 30, the average loss was like 2 lakhs. Okay. And 92% of traders lost money, 92% of retail traders lost money. Yeah, it came out like this year. And the only people who made money, I think it's that Wall Street firm. What's some Jane Street?
Jane
Only
Street.
Jane Street has made money in FNO. Nobody else has made money. Only the institutions make money because they have the backing to push things in their favor. That's really what Jane Street did, right? To like put it all down. Yeah, so it's like saying they bought their bet against banking stocks and then they sold all their banking stocks. So they can have enough weight to manipulate the market to go their way. In between, if you're like, I will also try putting money, nothing's going to happen for you. I feel like if people just read the news about FNO, they'll stop investing. But then it is sold to you as a lottery, it is sold to you as like some fast money making scheme. Today I got an SMS that said, Shailaja paid off her brother's education loans thanks to, wait, I'll read it. Thanks to some trading. Yeah. We suspected Sam. She made 92,000 in 3 days and bought a fridge for her mom. Her 92,000 rupee profit helped her brother get out of debt. So yeah, and then it goes to like some trading thing. And I'm like, amazing. Like I saved it because I was like, we should also learn to send messages from this thing. I was like, wow, copy is amazing. Her 92,000 profit helped her brother get out of debt. Click here, like you also get yours. That's how FNO is being sold. Like some magic miracle that'll
So,
solve all your
actually,
problems.
I was visiting my son in Bangalore and I got into an Ammayatri auto, okay? And I was discussing some mutual fund stuff with him, saying, "Hey, என்னடா SIP போடுறேன் and all." And this guy saying, "Oh, madam, you also do आप भी F&O करते हैं?" I said, "नहीं, मैं F&O तो नहीं करती हूँ. We are doing mutual fund." So he's saying, "F&O में कितना पैसा बनता है? Do you know?" And he opened his screen and he's showing me his trading account where he's saying, I bought this Bank Nifty option at 13 rupees and that one day it went to 90 rupees. So every day I trade while doing rides, he's showing me all this. I'm getting more and more nervous about whether he's going to bash. No, imagine the way.
No,
I
that's
mean,
how it's being sold,
yeah.
right? Like it's a quick money scheme. Like you can't
Yeah.
fail in it. Everybody makes
It's
money
very
in it.
sad. No, imagine the money the guy must be losing in this. Right?
No. And it's always like a cycle, right? Like you get the high out of putting in 100, making 200. Then you put in 200, make it 400. Then you put in 400 and then it goes into
Correct.
loss. So,
No, one day by luck the 13 went to 90. The next day you put in double the money and you lose it
and
all.
then it's like gambling. It's just like gambling. Then you get addicted to it.
Yeah.
And then with gamblers, it's always like, I will put in more and I'll get everything back.
He was saying exactly the same thing. He's saying, अब मैं ऑटो चला रहा हूँ इसलिए I'm not able to trade too much. I'm not able to track my positions. So I feel that one day when I should stop driving autos and do this full time. You know, it's so
It's very scary.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, so don't go near FNOs.
Because it's so easy to open an account. F&O. No, yeah. No, they have tried to
No,
do.
they've tried. It's a legitimate instrument. It's all over the world. Like Wall Street's big fall also happened
Yeah.
in a similar kind of instrument. But these are all products of capitalism. It's for like our big. It's for like the overlords to make money. So our only advice is that let the overlords deal with it.
Yeah.
We can.
See, there are racing cars which go in F1 races. So does that
Yeah.
mean that we can,
Yeah.
after driving a two-wheeler, we can go and we can't drive,
Yeah,
right?
they
So
serve
I
a
mean,
certain purpose.
Yeah.
So let the F1 drivers drive the F1 cars. We will drive Maruti 800. So that is like,
yeah, it does. Hedging. Yeah.
no, it works in the grand scheme. Of
So
like
it is supposed to be for hedging, but in India, practically zero hedging is happening and mostly speculation.
Yeah.
So, see, basically, mutual funds hold stocks, right? So, all of them hold a lot of stocks. Suppose they want to hedge against a scenario where market falls, so they can buy a put option. So, that's what it's meant to do. But actually, truthfully, nobody is doing that.
So it's like tomorrow it may go up, but what if it goes down? Let me also like spread
I'll
my
buy a
bases.
right to basically sell it in future.
Yeah,
It's meant
so
for that.
It's meant.
Yeah. Hi, Lavanya. Hi,
Hi.
Aarti ma'am. Hi. I'm a CA. What are some areas that financially literate people or even chartered accountants tend to overlook while investing? So that's one of my questions. The second question is, what do you recommend prioritizing investing, saving, and paying off your debt? Not mounting debt, but you might have a car EMI or a two-wheeler EMI for 15K or 10% of your income. So those are my two questions.
So one, what financially literate people also overlook, I feel like with chartered accountants, with us, because we are so close to the subject, we tend to have overconfidence in our own abilities to invest. So one of the things that was something that even I had, I'll be honest, I thought, okay, I know how to read balance sheets, I'll invest on my own. When you don't really have to, things changed for me the moment I went to like an advisor, like, one of these. So it also helped me take that away from my head because we're financially literate or because we work in this sphere. We also feel obligated to take it all on upon ourselves, even our own finances, right? We don't have to. We can also outsource it to other professionals, would be one. Number two, with respect to investing, saving, paying off debt, it really depends on one, the debt, and two, who you are as a person. Like if you are very put off by debt and you hate it and it really claws at you, some of us are very comfortable paying EMIs, some of us are not, some of us hate it. So if it really claws at you, I feel like, okay, you prioritize, like get it out of the way, clear your debt. But I would always advise investing over saving. I feel like saving should only be investing in my head, especially when you're young. Your saving should only be investing. And of course, have like some basic FD, like an emergency fund. You want to put that aside tomorrow if someone has to go to the hospital, God forbid. You want to have some liquidity. But other than that, I would always prioritize investing. Then I would say pay off your debt. And then, like, if you want to like save or put money aside, that doesn't really earn anything, you can do that. But definitely invest first. And also, if your debt is very high interest, if you've taken something on your credit card, please pay that off first. You don't even have to invest. The moment the interest rate on your loan is higher than 10%, I would say the moment it goes over double digits, like you've taken a personal loan, let's say, or you've taken a credit card kind of overdraft, pay that off first, because no investment will earn more money than that interest. So definitely pay off high interest loans first, then you invest. Saving, you shouldn't do. You should only invest.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm Adon out here. I'm a product manager in a fintech company.
Super.
So it's a payment I work for a payment company which is like Razorpay, Just Pay, and Mastercard, Visa sometimes. So we were just talking about how things work on spendings. So we just work on live transactions, which is like on the EOD, we find like each and every day. I mean, like I could see that whole room's transaction is our in our database. I couldn't reveal it, but I just want to talk about it. The thing is, which I just wanted to talk about it. We work for Magnati, which is like he's the sole proprietor for Abu Dhabi One Bank. So he's like doing transactions for card, and we do work for Razorpay, which is like the machine which has been used for cuts. Yes. So I find there is a proportion where how they utilize the credit cards and debit cards for merchants and customers. So when it comes to Indian standards, I don't find like how they I mean like work out we as a customers or a merchants in parallel the education for the merchants and the customers have been not thought. Is it like I just wanted to quote his point and his point where uh, for students it's not financially thought, for the business holder which is like merchants or they just own a business, they're a merchant, so they have not thought that Mastercard has like enormous features where they come up with a mission or a card, they provide so many features, but at last they come up with like business பண்ண தெரியலப்பா எனக்கு இது லாஸ்ட்ல போகுது, but they have like the F1 drive whatever you thought, the F1 drivers literally focus on the daily transaction people to encourage. So I don't find like Indians are like competing towards the card transactions or UPI is like very mass. I mean like it's like bullshit. We can't even handle, which is like per transaction we just get like 0.20%. For that we do business. But card it's like 2.5, 2.53 for education. It's like commercial, it's like 10% for a transaction. It's like unbelievable where we haven't been taught that if you just wanted to start a business, just go for like online transactions, like card is like preferable, but still they go for UPI. It's like very simple. We are like Indians, we are forced to be like paying in the QRs. So I find like why the
Why are they not
yes, so
educating?
why there is I mean like the imbalance between the European or US compared to Indians.
With respect to card
Yes,
transactions,
which is like
right?
especially cards.
I would
Yes.
say it's because of the push behind UPI, and like we got digital at the same time that data became cheap. So I think Gadkari also talks about this. There was one watershed movement that happened, I want to say in 2016, when, or a little before, basically when Geo happened and UPI happened together. And I think after that, like the pandemic pushed all payments online, COVID. So three things happened in unison. Geo opened up data for the average Indian, and two was UPI happened, and three was COVID forced all of us to pay online, and because of that, Bharat moved online and Bharat transacts on UPI. And as much as we want to say like card ladam business irukku, and like that cards actually bring in more money for anyone who's about to start a business. When your customers have a certain way of paying, for example, every e-commerce merchant was forced to give cash on delivery at one point in time. Now most people don't offer COD because we were so used to paying in cash, and because we were very untrusting, mistrusting, whatever, sorry, of online transactions. A lot of people preferred paying cash when they got everything. Today we are more comfortable with prepayment, which in itself is like a step forward. So what we have to remember is that Europe and US got formal payment methods like cards in their systems a lot earlier than we did. We got liberalized only in 1991. And then by the time cards came and all, I think it was 2000. Only like the elite people, I think, were having top 0.1% were having cards in the 90s. It was a rarity. Like, I remember we'd be very excited to visit an ATM because you'd get to see that card in action. Like it was one big thing going into an ATM pressing numbers. But now cards are as available as UPI, but because I think like you said, it's mass, no? Like everyone prefers it. It's very easy, and they've designed it in such a way that it's completely friction free. You don't have to remember the card number. Like it's only one 4-digit pin. Like I would sometimes like I don't remember the card number. I'm trying to remember what the CVV is. I just go for UPI. So
Free also, right?
It's
We
free
don't
also.
charge a user fee, so obviously
Yeah,
people.
so I feel like it's just timing as to
Yeah.
why these are broader macroeconomic trends, but I think it's just timing with respect to why we adopted UPI versus cards. I think UPI just beat every other payment method out of the water. And because of the sheer number of people who use UPI, you can't avoid it as a merchant. If you say you don't offer UPI, then no one's buying from you. So that's why people don't buy.
No, our audience gives the signal. They're very ruthless, they just walk out. So let me just end where I started. The chat GPT was pretty long, so I didn't read out the whole thing. Now let me finish that. It says that the book is a starting point, not a finishing line. It's a comprehensive manual for every financial eventuality. It won't take you deep into the stock market. Many of you came for stock market tips, I think, or real estate strategy, and that's intentional. Mohan positions the book as a primer, a nudge to get readers started, feel confident, and seek further knowledge as they go. It's an essential read for young Indians trying to build a healthy, shame free relationship with money. She has created a warm, practical, and culturally resonant guidebook that would be on every college grad's bookshelf and, frankly, in every HR onboarding kit. I totally agree. I remember a conversation when I was in the IT sector and a NASCOM event. I had to share with them that people are asking me to intervene to get their children out of the IT company, especially girls. And that was because they were spending recklessly. So when I mooted this point at the HR conference, saying that you should also teach young people about handling money. When you're giving them so much of money, why don't you teach them how to handle money? There was an outrage, and people said it's not our business to be moral policing on how they spend their money or on what they spend their money. Now, this is the kind of reluctance that we have to talk about money, and I'm sure a frank conversation on money is always going to be helpful. So, thank you very much for this conversation, and I hope, as you go on to your next book, you have a platform here, and that goes deep into stock markets and real estate strategies and forward markets and trading, etc. Thank you. Uh, just some housekeeping announcements on the next few events. On the 2nd of August, we have Daughter of Two Rivers, Arun Krishna and Pradeep Chakravarti. 9th of August, we have a discussion on Operation Sindoor, Major General Indra Balan. On 16th August, we have Madras Art Deco Architecture, Sujata Shankar. On 19th August, we have Ambassador Rakesh Sood. And on 27th August, we have Beyond the Ballot, Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy is also with us today, the former Chief Election Commissioner. So see you on all these events. Keep encouraging CIC. Be part of what we are trying to do. Create a spa for the mind. Thank you for being here.